With the truth, the facts, we lay it down flat. With the melanated empire, never hold back. Put the facts in the blacks and make them wise up. With the melanated.
Peace to the family. Give thanks for being with us yet again in another video. Let me start off first by saying this video ain't gonna be no quick video, family. This has been a long awaited video and we're finna go in. So you can pause it, do all what you have to go on do quickly and come back and let it run still, you know. As the perfect time for if you have a herb blazing, you just finished blazing a herb to come and take in some heights, most definitely. So the title for this video, family, is What Happens After Death. I mean, with the way people die these days, I mean, people have always been dying, but probably now that we have become conscious or aware of what's really going on, if you're trying to perceive the deeper realms and deeper understandings of life, those are questions you will ask yourself. What happens when you die? Now, it's true that no one has actually died. When they say died, we like to say transition and return within that same physical to give an account as to what happened. We don't have that, okay? So a lot of the writings you will see referring to that particular topic is called eschatological text. So anytime you see eschatology, it refers to text or literature that pertains to what happens after death. Now, don't feel it's no big word, family. You know, as we get older, we should really be increasing in vocabulary because we should be reading, and sometimes we'll have to come with some 4 or 5 syllable words, family. You see, so just patience, grab the dictionary later on, you know. But as I explained, eschatological text deals with texts that concerns what happens to the soul after death. Now, one might say, but why are you thinking about death? I said, well, you have the life, you know, you have the life to live your life. And we're basically there to live our best life and become a better version of ourselves. But I'm sure the family has heard the saying that life is like a lesson, it's like a testing ground, it's like, you know, like something of that sort, family. Like you come to learn something, or you came back for something to be reinstilled within you, okay, to take you one step closer towards, if we have to go to the reincarnation topic, for you not to even reincarnate but become one again with source, because inevitably souls do reincarnate. Okay, now one may think that, yeah, but from the time from the time a baby is born, you know, considering that the society and environment is conducive, that the baby should live a long life, and since it's just a baby, should grow old and have experiences, and yes, all of that, yes, I agree. But while it appears that the baby is getting older, coming to a toddler, then, you know, youngster, they grow in, family, and they're getting older. And the older they're getting, ultimately, they are headed towards that finish line where the physical cannot sustain anymore. So they have to transition. You see what I'm saying, family? So everything within this third dimension, what I'm basically saying in a nutshell, everything in this third dimension has to transition. Now, they made us think and understand that it is like die, and when you die, that you like no more. This is basically Western scientific empiricism that only deals with left brain hemisphere thinking, only deals with the scientific and logical thinking. It don't deal with the intuitive part of the brain, which is the right side of the brain. But we're going to get to this. It appears that from the time you're born, you get older, and while you're growing older, you're aging, and ultimately that time has to come. Now, recently I've had, yeah, within a span of probably 5 years, I've had 2 family members that passed away, I believe. Still have my brother. But I've had 2 siblings that passed away, both my brother and my sister. Probably that has been my impetus to go into this particular topic, because we thought that is only one life, but then we thought that you mustn't be afraid to die, okay? And a lot of ancient cultures speculate as to what happens to the soul after death. One of these particular cultures is where my interest lies, within Kemetic spirituality. So I went ahead and did the research and compared the Christian perspective of what happens after death to the ancient ancestors and what they perceived. So family, what I'm basically saying is death happening right now? Because remember, they call it life after death. Life after death. That means they're not just referring to that point in time that when you die, the life after. This whole period is like a death. So if they're like, we live in life and then we dead, but apparently there is a life after death. So then one will need to stop and ask themselves, so what is the purpose of life? Yes, we know as human beings is to become a better individual and thereby contributing that goodness towards the holistic health and righteousness of the planet. Okay, like-minded individuals coming together and spreading that good love and tranquility to make the world a better place, actually aiding in the transitioning into this Aquarian period. So the fact that a lot of ancient cultures knew and understood that there is a life after death, okay, many people started to speculate as to what actually happened. So as I said, we're going to compare the Christian hypothesis and what the ancient ancestors perceived. Now, when I went down into the research, family, the oldest concept I got of the life after death in regards to a Christian narrative was a book referred to a book called The Testament of Abraham. And that book is dated first and second century ACE. Let's go over to the laptop. Let me show you real quickly. Again, I apologize to the family. I haven't all program I download to try and get the record the screen or try and go to an app where I can screen share and do everything neatly. The laptop just giving problems, family. So bear with me, gotta update the laptop, but however it is I can bring you the information, I'm gonna do so. Okay, and that is also partly due to the reason why this particular video have been pending.
Yes, family, so as we were saying, pardon about that red line in the middle. I don't really know what that's about. Probably behind the laptop screen or something. I don't know. Anyway, as we were saying, family, so yeah, what is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of life ultimately? Yes, to live a good life and to enjoy yourself, but why were people so fascinated and to some degree even obsessed with what happens when you die? And this includes our ancestors. Now, according to the title of the video, as I said, we're doing Christian concept, Christian theology against what the ancestors perceive. So when I trace it back, it goes back to 1st and 2nd century ACE, and as I said, it is referred to as the Testament of Abraham. So we just brought it up for you right here. And it reads, the Testament of Abraham is a pseudo-epigraphic text of the Old Testament, probably composed in the 1st and 2nd century CE. It is of Jewish origin, and is usually considered to be part of the apocalyptic literature. Apocalyptic meaning, is apocalypse, people have to die and everything have to go on. So it's like, again, eschatological text within Christianity. This is as far back as it goes. Now, of course, we went ahead and get an excerpt from within the book, The Testament of Abraham, online, although we can't get the actual book. And within it, chapter 12 specifically, verse 11 and 15, it goes on to read and said, the wondrous man who sat upon the throne himself judged and sentenced the souls. The two angels on the right and on the left wrote down, the one on the right, the righteousness, and the one on the left, the wickedness. The one before the table who held the balance weighed the souls. So we have an angel, family, who has a balance in his hand. Well, some people may not know what a balance is. Balance, you can also call balance scales. Okay? Again, we're dealing with Christianity. If we go into the King James version of the Bible, all right, we just did a word search on the word scales. Now, scales, because of Old English in the Bible, most times is referring to fish family and things in the water that has scales. But there is one occasion, okay, in Isaiah chapter 40 where it said, who have measured the water in the hollow of his hand and meted out heaven with the span and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure and weighed the mountains in scales and the hills in a balance. Okay, now as I'm telling you, basically skills and balance is the same thing. Don't believe me? Let's go to tools. Now this website is very good because you can actually go to tools. It gives you the verse in the original writing, in the original language from the Septuagint, and we even have Strong's concordances for us to look up the definition of these words as the scripture basically intended. Okay, so of the earth in a measure and weighed the mountains in scales. Here we have scales would be pelek. Let's hear how it sounds.
Strong's H6425. Peles.
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 Peles. So we have Strong's Concordance H6425. Click on that right there. It's going to give us the definition. So that would be a masculine noun, scales, right? Outline of biblical usage, balance, scale. You see it, family? So that's why I tell you balance and scale means the very same thing. Don't believe me? So we just looked up the word scales. Let's look up balance now. Okay, this is how we're going to be breaking down shit in the Bible. Let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know mine integrity. We got one time in Job 31. And we're going to tools, same way. Give us a Septuagint. And let us look for that word balance. Here it is. Mosen. I think I'm saying it
Strong's
correctly.
H3976. Mosenayim.
Mosenayim. Oh, well, I slaughtered that word. Mosenayan. Okay. Here on the Strong's Concordance for the definition of balance. We're going straight to outline of biblical usage. We see scales and balances. All right, family. So I just wanted to establish that point, that scales and balances is the very same thing. Okay. Now, as we were reading, it says, the one before the table who held the balance weighed the souls. Again, remember, this is from the Testament of Abraham, which is a pseudepigraphic text. Pseudepigraphic basically means it's wrongly attributed. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean in regards to the book. Is it wrongly attributed to that time of Christianity, of Christian theology, or is it that the concept was actually taken from an earlier source and basically it is not original to Christian theology? Who knows? These people are always making up shit. Anyway, let us go a little further. It says, the two angels on the right hand and on the left, these are the ones who write down the sins and righteousness. The one on the right writes down the righteousness, the one on the left the sins. The angel like the sun holding the balance in his hands is the archangel Dokael. Now, while doing this research, family, this is the very first time I've heard of an archangel named Dokael. I mean, where do those names actually come from? You know, you will hear of Michael the archangel and Gabriel and all these ones there, but Dokael. Okay. Now, family, when we go into the Oxford Dictionary of Christian Art and Architecture, okay, I mean, we're going into sources for your family. We're not just coming and talk on shit here, you know. We're not on no mass following or nothing, but we're there to help in the awakening process, family. So we're making sure we come and give you what they refer to as pseudo information, although one cannot really weigh the soul, and even these atheists will tell you that we don't have a soul. So I don't know whether you ever burn a herb or not. Some may say it messes with your head intellectually, but if you have to consume THC in any shape, way or form and you meditate, you can actually feel your soul within your family. And I ain't talking shit. You can actually literally feel your soul within you. When you astral project, okay, it is not your body leaving your body. It is your soul that leaves your body and travels. Right? So we, family, have souls. We have souls. We have a spirit. Black people know this. This ain't no new information. Okay? So again, this whole thing is what happens to your soul after you die. Be it a good or bad person. Do they go through the same things? You know. But what we're giving you now here is how the Christians perceived it. So we just read the oldest evidence we have of the concept of this eschatological text, which came from the Testament of Abraham. And right now I'm just going to read an excerpt from the book called the Oxford Dictionary of Christian Art and Literature. It speaks about the Last Judgment. Okay, so where is it here? If you can see the hand moving right here, it says the portrayal of the Last Judgment has a long history. From portal sculpture to the paintings of dooms on the west walls of churches as a grim reminder to those living the building. But Roger's version breaks new ground. They're talking about Roger von Wyden, because he actually painted a picture depicting almost close to the concept that we got from the Testament of Abraham. We're going to get to the image shortly. It says in the large central panel, Christ in majesty with the lily and the sword which have issued from his mouth. Actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get the picture so you can see what we're talking about. This is Roger von Wyden's painting of the Last Judgment. So as we were reading the article, this is Jesus with the lily and the sword above. This is Saint Michael, which holds the scales in his hand. On this side here, we have 2 angels to the left, 2 angels to the right, and we have, I believe, is the 12 disciples. Let's go on to reading to see. So in the large central panel, Christ in majesty with the lily and the sword, which have issued from his mouth, is seated on the rainbow with the globe beneath his feet. I think we observed that in the image. Oh man, there for the time. The globe beneath his feet, right? On either side at the top are angels with the instruments of the passion. The long ribbon of text flowed from him with the words of judgment. Come to me, blessed ones, and depart from me, ye wicked. And below him stands the archangel Michael with the scales of judgment. Now, if the family was paying attention, we just read in the Testament of Abraham, it wasn't Michael that was holding the scales of judgment. It was the archangel Dokiel. And that got changed to Saint Michael, because Saint Michael, as we know in Christian theology, is the archangel. Him stands Archangel Michael with the scales of judgment. So remember, I just said scales and balance is the very same thing, and we even went into the Strong's Concordance in the Bible to show this, right? At the base of the rainbow are the Virgin and Saint John the Baptist as the intercessors, or on either side of them are arranged the 12 disciples with 3 saints behind each group. Now, if you were paying attention, or if you probably didn't or haven't seen previous videos, we do go into astrology, and you can just even tell by the painting the 12 disciples and the fact that they have 3 saints behind each group of them. You can see the astrological significance, because within each sphere, okay, if we have to divide the zodiac belt, or that ecliptic belt, that circle which the zodiac signs rest upon, family, if we divide it into 4, you will get 3 signs for each quarter. Okay, so we can already see that significance, that astrological or astronomical evidence in there. Okay, below the dead rise from the ground, and on the left, that is on Christ's hand, the blessed are ushered into paradise. Let's have a look at this painting again. So the dead rise from the ground, those on the right are ushered into paradise. I guess those on the left are ushered into hell. There's something I want to get to, family, and it's coming up shortly, so we're going to leave this alone. Okay, but it's good to do reading, family. If I wasn't doing the reading, I wouldn't have actually come across this information to share with you, right? Now, again, it's eschatological text, not because we read it from a book that means this is what actually happens, but I'm showing you the oldest Christian understanding of it, and then we move into the ancestral understanding. Now, it goes on to say that all this conforms to the traditional Last Judgment, from the great mosaic Torcello to the various French Gothic portal sculptures which portray the subject, except for one detail. In Torcello, St. Michael holds the scale level, perhaps following Job 31, let me be weighed in a just balance, and let God know my integrity. But in all the French portals which show Michael as the way of the soul, it is the soul of the saved which sinks, while that of the damned rises, according to Daniel. Okay, you have been weighed in the scales and found wanting. So I would just like you to remember this, family. the soul of the saved sinks and the soul of the damned rises. Now, Roger's good soul rises, whereas the bad soul is weighed down by its sins. So where did Roger get this understanding of making the good soul rise on the scale? Okay, so we're going to have a look at this, family. So Roger van Wyden's painting of the Last Judgment, what happens after death. On this side, as you can see the mouse, is the soul that is saved would rise, okay, and the soul that is damned would sink. But originally, the concept was the soul that rises is damned, and the one that sinks is the one that is saved, right? So I would like to touch upon that. So that was the original understanding of the eschatological Christian doctrine. But apparently, when the big man himself, JC, stepped on the scene, it's like all of that had to be done away with. It's like, just believe in me and it's all over. That's why we, the woke individuals, tend to ask questions like, so you mean to tell me if someone was raped, they will actually see the rapist in heaven with them, and all he has to do is say, I believe in you, Jesus? Is there any justification to this? You think the rapist will actually want to see their do you think the individual, the victim of the rape, will actually want to see their rapist in heaven with them? Really? So this concept, family, has been tried and is found wanting, okay, from the most contemporary concept of it being that all you have to do is believe and say, I'm sorry, Jesus, and all will be fine, to the very ancient concept of it being that of the scales. Now, where did the ancient concept of that Christian doctrine come from? So that is the Christian perspective of what happens to you after death, family. You would have to go before St. Michael and your soul would have to be tried. Now, within, okay, the ancestral understanding of this, right, we have what they refer to as this is what many people call the Last Judgment scene, or the halls of MAAT. Okay, this is from the papyrus of Oni, which dates around 1275 BCE. So there are two papyruses. There is this, the papyrus of Oni. You will see him, Oni, here, and his wife Tutu. And you will also get the papyrus of Unefer. Okay, this is the papyrus of Unefer, has a judgment scene as well. But what we're dealing with here today is the papyrus of Oni. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this, family. There is something they refer to as the 21-gram experiment, where an individual, Dougal, I believe is like Duncan Dougal or something of that sort, his name is, attempted to see whether the physical anatomy, whether the body carries a soul. So what he did, individuals that was basically on the brink of death, he weighed them, and at the time of death, he weighed them again. In one of his tests, I think he conducted about 6 of them. In 1 or 2 of them, he drew the conclusion that the body was actually 21 grams lighter. That's where sometimes you will hear the notion a soul actually weighs 21 grams. But a lot of people didn't really jack his experiment, and as a result, it wasn't actually taken into consideration of that sort. But we already explained that we are not this body. This is spirituality 101. Okay, you are not your body. You are the divine essence that is within the body coming to have a physical experience. Okay, and when that time hits, for you to have that transition, obviously you're gonna merge back with source, family. That's just how it is until that point, if you ever have to reincarnate again. Okay, now again, our ancestors were basically obsessed with the afterlife, what happens after life, or life after death. And again, we're dealing with the papyrus of Oni. Okay, family, so let's take this in. So Oni now is dead. He just transitioned, and this basically is the hieroglyph or the Meduneter depicting what happens in the halls of MAAT. The halls of MAAT is basically a cosmogonical perception and understanding of our ancestors in regards to what happens celestially, and within certain realms, what happens to the soul family. Okay, so this is Oni here. This is his wife Tutu. Okay, as one should know, if you're looking at an image, to get the gist or the first element of an image is to look at its center. So the center of this image we have is the scales.